Good afternoon, grade 4. I want you to look at the graph on the board. So as you can see here, this graph is about the juice boxes served at a restaurant. So this one is our data for our bar graph, the juice boxes served as a restaurant. Upon looking at this bar graph, which juice do you think served the most? Is it the buko juice, the mango juice, the chico juice, the orange, the atis, or the duhat? Which juice is being served the most? Yes, it's the duhat juice. How about the juice that is being served the least? We have the chico juice. Okay. With this particular graph, we will also apply the knowledge that we have about probability. Remember, yesterday, we studied about probability in numbers, wherein we follow the formula number of favorable outcome over the number of possible outcome. And for this formula, we can see that the probability is expressed in fraction form, right? The number on top serve or represent the favorable outcome, and the number below represent your possible outcome. So we are going to apply this particular formula in reading and understanding the data, particularly the probability of the information in the graph. Now, I want you to observe carefully with the graph, and let's study some of the probability or chances of some juice here to be served at the restaurant. So take note first that per unit here on the scale is equivalent to 2 juice boxes. That's why, as you can see on our scale, it's by 2s, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Now, let us solve the probability for each one. So, what do you think is the probability of the buko juice to be served at a restaurant? But before that, if we are going back to our formula, favorable outcome over possible outcome, it will be hard for us to answer the question, what is the probability of the juice to be served, if we don't know first what's the possible outcome for the given data. Okay? Now, let's have this one by one first. Let's start off buko juice. It's 8. Okay? So, we have buko juice 8. The next one, mango juice, is 6. So, this one is buko juice. This 6 is the mango juice. How about the third one? We have the chico, which is 4. The next one is orange, which is 6. We also have atis, the same with orange, which is 6. And the last one, which served the most, that is 10, and that is duhat juice. Now, in order for us to find its possible outcome, we just simply add up everything. So, let's start adding. 8 plus 6, that is 14. 14 plus 4, that is 18. 18 plus 6, that is 24. 24 plus 6, that is 30. And 30 plus 10, that is 40. So, for this particular bar graph of the juice boxes served at a restaurant, the probability is, or the possible outcome rather, is 40. How did I get that? I just simply add all the datas here. So, 8 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 and 10, that is 40. And this 40 is our possible outcome. So, let's take note of that on top of our board because we will be using that for the rest of our activity. Now, let's start off with buko juice. What is the probability of getting or picking a buko juice in the restaurant? Okay? So our possible outcome is 40. How about its favorable outcome? Take a look at this one. Buko juice has 8. So our favorable outcome for buko juice is 8. That will be our favorable outcome. Okay? So in showing the probability in numbers, we have to write this one in fraction form following the formula number of favorable outcome over the number of possible outcomes. So that will be 8 over 40. Are you following? So 8 over 40. But take a look at our answer. It's quite actually big. We have to get its lowest term, especially if your fraction needs to be simplified. Okay? So how can we simplify this fraction? Simple as this. Find its GCF. So we have 8. What I am doing right now is the continuous division method in finding the GCF. So 8 as the smaller number and then 40 as the larger one. So how many 8s are there in 40? That is 5. So 5 times 8, that is 40. So 40 minus 40 is 0. What is the last divisor that I use? I use 8. So therefore, the GCF of 8 and 40 is 8. So we have to divide both sides by 8. So that will be 8 divided by 8 is 1. And 40 divided by 8 is 5. So the probability of the buko juice to be served at a restaurant is 1/5. Okay? I get that 1/5 because 8 over 40 is being simplified by using its GCF. Okay? Next. How about the mango juice? So the mango juice there is 6. So our favorable outcome for mango juice is 6. Okay, let's have this one. So what's our favorable outcome again? 6. Our possible outcome is 40. Okay? So now, can we simplify this particular fraction into its lowest term? Yes, we can, because as you can see, the number is quite big. Now, let's get its GCF. So 6 and 40. How many 6 are there in 40? We have 6, right? 6 times 6 is 36. 40 minus 36 is 4. So, it is not yet done. So, let's use our remainder as our new divisor. And let's use 6 as our new dividend. So, how many 4 are there in 6? There is only 1. So, 1 times 4 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. Then, the same process. 2 and 4. How many 2's are there in 4? 2. So, 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 minus 4 is 0. So, what is the last divisor that we use? We use 2 as our last divisor. So, therefore, the GCF of 6 and 40 is 2. So, divide both sides by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So, the probability of picking a mango juice or the probability of serving the mango juice at a restaurant is 3 over 20. Okay? Next. How about the next kind of juice that we have? Okay, Chico. So, the Chico there has only 4. So, our favorable outcome is 4. and our possible outcome is 40. We can also simplify this one by getting its GCF. So 4 and 40. How many 4 are there in 40? There are only 10. So 10 times 4 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. So the last divisor that we use is 4. So divide both sides by 4 now. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 40 divided by 4 is 10. So the probability of serving Chico juice at a restaurant is 1/10. Okay? Next. How about the orange juice? Actually, orange juice is just the same with the mango and the atis juice. So let's solve it again. So orange and atis, since they have the same number only. So 6 over 40. Do you still remember the GCF of the 2? Okay, it's 2. So divide both sides by 2. That will be 3 and 20. Okay, so same with the mango juice, the probability of serving an orange juice and an atis juice at a restaurant is 3 over 20. Now, let's have the juice that is being served the most, the duhat. So as you can see on our graph, the duhat is 10. So its favorable outcome is 10 divided by, or over rather, 40, which is our possible outcome. So this one, we can also simplify this by getting its GCF. So what do you think is the GCF of the two numbers? So how many 10s are there in 40? We have 4. 4 times 10 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. So its GCF is 10. Divide both sides by 10. That will be 10 divided by 10 is 1. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So the probability of picking or serving a duhat juice at a restaurant is 1/4. So what have you observed in getting the probability in the graph like this? First and foremost, you have to observe carefully the details on our graph. It will be helpful if you will take note all the equivalent of our categories based on the scales given, so that it will be easier for you to get the possible outcome and the favorable outcome. In getting your possible outcome, you just simply add everything, add all the variables or the equivalent of each category on the given scale. Just simply add, and that's it. You can get its possible outcome. The favorable outcome is depend on what is given on the question itself. So you have to look at the graph in order for you to find the favorable outcome for each given event. If you have that already, all the data are with you, you just have to follow the formula, number of favorable outcome over number of possible outcome. You just write or express the probability of the data or of the event in a fraction form with the favorable outcome on top and the possible outcome at the bottom. But take note, if the fraction given can be simplified, you have to get its lowest term by getting its GCF. Like what I did, I used the continuous division method by to get its GCF and divide both the numbers by your GCF. And then, after that, you will get the simplified form of your answer. And through that one, you can understand the probability of the given graph. So from this, we can assume that even in this kind of information, the one that is being represented by the graph, we can also get its probability. You just have to follow the formula given with you. Okay? So now, let's have an additional question, this one. What if the orange juice increases into 6. Okay? Again, what if the orange juice increases by 6? Do you think our possible outcome and the favorable outcome for the orange juice will change? Yes, it will. So since we already have the 40, knowing that the orange juice is just 6, but here, it says in our next problem, what if the orange juice increases by 6? So meaning to say, we also have to add 6 in our possible outcome because the orange juice is increased by 6. So 40 plus 6, that is 46. Now, so the original favorable outcome for orange is 6. But it says on our problem, it is added or increased by 6. So what will we do with that? 6 plus 6, that will be 12. So the favorable outcome now for orange is 12. So that's our favorable outcome over 46 as our new possible outcome. Is this our final answer now? Not yet, because these numbers can also be simplified into lowest term. How? We just simply get its GCF. So 12 and 46. How many 12s are there in 46? There are just 3. So 3 times 12 is 36. So 46 minus 36, that is 10. So let's use this 10 as our new divisor and 12 as our new dividend. So how many 10s are there in 12? 1. So 1 times 10 is 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. So 2 and then 10. How many 2's are there in 10? 5. 5 times 2, that will be 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. So the last divisor used is 2. So we have to divide both sides by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2 divided by 46 is 23. So 6 over 23 is the chances or the probability that the new data for orange juice will be served at a restaurant. Okay? So again, in understanding the probability of the given information represented by the graph, all you have to do is to add everything to get your possible outcome. So you have to identify the data or the scale for each category to get the respective favorable outcome, and to get its probability, all you have to do is to follow the formula. What is that again? Number of favorable outcome over number of possible outcome. And take note that if the fraction like this can be simplified, get its lowest term by finding its GCF. And there you have it. You can get the probability of the information or the event illustrated in the graph. I hope you learned new thing for our today's lesson in math.